Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Over my shoulder, very familiar, it's the Sasquatch Highland 60 Expedition Camper. A year ago, we did a quick walk around of this camper, and it's shown up in a couple of additional episodes as we traveled. But at the time, we promised you a full review. And guess what? It's been a year. It's time to take a deep dive on this camper. All that next on the Roamer Adventure Network. Okay, first things first, what do we mean by an expedition camper? Well, that means it needs to be able to go anywhere. No compromises on the terrain that you're going to cross, because you want to be able to get out beyond the traditional campsites, the RV parks, even the campsites in state parks and national parks. You want to go beyond. You want to get out in BLM land, and you want to be able to exist and be supported multiple days on any adventure that you choose. So that's the starting point. In addition to go anywhere capability, it needs to be incredibly lightweight. For us, that's our tow vehicle, the 2022 Jeep Wrangler 4xe. It's charging right now. But we needed something under 3,500 pounds, fully loaded, because that's the tow rating of the Jeep. Fortunately, the Sasquatch fits the bill. So this is an all aluminum, all composite material construction. Empty, dry weight on this trailer is under 1,900 pounds. So definitely, even with water on board, additional gear loaded up, the tent on top, the awning, we're still looking at sub 3,000 pounds total on this camper. So it'll definitely go behind that Jeep, and it'll go behind your tow vehicle, no problem. So the next big consideration for us, at least, was storage. Needed places to put things when we're out on the road, when we're traveling. And this has it in spades. Check this out. These are the storage boxes up and down the side of the Highland 60. There's 4 of them, and I'll pop these open and give you a tour. All right, here you go. Now, not all of these storage boxes have the same level of access or capability. This one's fully open, although you'll see there are some guide rails over here, so it does come with shelves. I've chosen to take the shelf out just so I can fit different types of items in here. This one, a little more crowded because we do have a hot water heater and a place to hook up our hoses, so a little bit less storage, but we've got the same thing on the other side. All right, so place to put a little buddy, some fresh water containers. But this is by far and away my favorite storage box, because I've been able to take advantage of the installed shelves and a couple of unique storage containers just to keep organized out on the road. So I got everything from headlamps to toolboxes to fire starters to, what do we got up here? All of our straps, tie downs, and stakes. Really useful. I do have a place up top to throw a cooler, to throw chairs, to throw whatever I need, strap them down, take them out on the road as well. And then up here, where most of our electrical is, we'll get to this in a second, I do have some additional space. This isn't it when it comes to storage. Once we get around to the galley, there's plenty of places for all of our cooking utensils and food and all the like. So we'll cover that soon. Okay, I definitely got ahead of myself a little bit. Let's back up. Who is Sasquatch? Well, it's a husband and wife owned team up in Silverton, Colorado, and they even dropped a little Easter egg here on the camper. Check this out here on the back. Handcrafted in the USA, 9,318 feet. Really cool group of people. I highly recommend you check out their website. It's www.sasquatch-campers.com. Hand build these units, 1, 2 at a time. And like I said, really neat group of people. If you think you're gonna be up in the mountains, up on the western slopes of the Rockies, go check them out. So capability on a trailer doesn't necessarily start with tires and wheels, but there's something interesting here I wanna point out. These are BF Goodrich KO2s, 17-inch method all aluminum wheels, and it's a 5-stud pattern. So this wheel pattern and this tire exactly match what's on the Jeep, and that's really nice peace of mind when we're out and about, that if something goes wrong, we lose a tire, I got a spare on the back of the Jeep, I got a spare on the back of the trailer, we are good to go. Capability starts underneath. We're talking about an all aluminum frame here. Designer of this particular frame has expertise in building aluminum race cars. So very lightweight, very strong, lifetime warranty on this. And then the suspension, we're looking at a trailing arm suspension with Fox shocks, springs, 22 inches of ground clearance, more than is on my Jeep. So this thing will not be the limiting factor of where we go. I do want to point out the one piece of steel on this trailer is these trailing arms themselves. Everything else, like we said, aluminum, composite, lightweight. While we're underneath here, might as well get a shot of the freshwater tank. That is 36 gallons of water. I've never run out of water on any trip. 1 week, 2 week, it doesn't seem to matter. If you're frugal with your water, you're gonna be able to take plenty with you. Got a drain valve there. I've actually installed a quick disconnect, so that actually sits underneath the sink in the galley. And I can run a little drain hose off of that, take that wastewater away from the camper itself. Okay, if you've been paying attention, you probably noticed there is an Outdoorsy rental link on our trailer. You said, well, why would you want to do that? Well, Casey and I always intended when we bought our trailers to let other people experience what this is like. One of the things when we were shopping is there just weren't a lot of options to go out and actually use these things and see, is this something that we want to do long term? And so we wanted to give people the option to do that. So if you're interested in renting this trailer, you want to be down in Texas, maybe you want to go to Big Bend, Maris Adventure Park, Guadalupe National Park, hit the link, go ahead and check us out, and let us know you found us on YouTube. And I'll leave the link to Casey's trailer down in the description as well. All right, let's take a quick tour of the heart of the trailer, which is where all the electrical systems are up front. We do have an Ames Power 12 volt inverter and charger, so it does supply power to all of our AC outlets. It also takes the charge from our shore power connection. So when you're at camp or we've got access to shore power, then that takes care of the charging function there. We do have a solar charge controller. We've got solar panels up on top of the rooftop tent, which I'll show you here in a bit, and a Renogy 20 amp DC to DC battery charger, so that when we're hooked up through our 7-pin, that we're getting the proper amount of charge into the Renogy 200 amp hour lithium ion battery. I really do like the Bluetooth capability here. I can keep tabs on everything that's going on while we're rolling down the road. Obviously over there on the side, we've got all of our fuse blocks and controls, including a master switch. It's a decent setup. It's very clean, very well done. It's a pretty basic setup for trailers these days. One of the things that we did discuss with Cass and the crew was, looking at something like a Red Arc system. And at the time, just didn't have the time to source it. And frankly, it was pretty expensive. They do offer it now as an option. So if you check that out on your website, you can upgrade your electrical system. One thing I will point out on all of these doors is you'll see there are light switches. So got one over here, got one over on the other side. You can see the light right above the door. Every single one, our storage bins, there's plenty of lighting on this trailer, and I'll highlight that as we go. All right, let's take a quick look up front. The components here are from ARC Corporation. This is their Black Series. This is their 360-degree hitch. It's a pretty nice unit. It's got a little bit of surface rust on here. There used to be a nice little plate that I knocked off. But fully articulating. It's got a visual indicator on it right now. So right now in the unlocked, if I flip that, it flips to locked and lets you know that you're on the ball hitch. And it's got a little resting place over here so this thing doesn't flop around as you're trying to hook it up. It's really nice, works really well. The other component from ARC is this trailer jack. And again, very heavy duty unit, flips up out of the way, no problem. It's worked really well for us. One little modification we did on the trailer, we've added our own little leveling plates just to assist us visually as we're getting ready, set up at camp. And I got one on the back too, I'll show you later. All right, I already showed you the shore power connection, but we also have our solar connector here and a pass-through. Now, because I have installed the solar panels up there on the roof, I have run the cables down through here. They go into the pass-through for storage. And then if I'm using them, I'll actually feed them back out and connect them to the solar controller. It's just a little bit of a workaround for how I've chosen to do the setup, but it works. Okay, let's talk Easter eggs. They're all over the trailer. I'll try to point those out as we go. We've got a Highland 60 on the front fairing. Got a nice little mountain cutout on this all aluminum plate, protection plate, and a place to tie down things. And then check this out down here. We've got a little Sasquatch footprint. And there's a couple more I'll show you as we go. That roof rack up there, all aluminum, all custom, as well as the mounting side plates here. Again, another little Easter egg, but these are just another place to be able to install things, store things. We got our Max Tracks on this side. I'll show you on the other side. We got some Roto Packs. And then down here, okay, our side steps and our mud guard, all one integrated unit. It is all aluminum, again, custom. And yes, you can stand on those, no problem, and get access to the roof. All the propane you're gonna need. We've got dual 13-pound canisters on the trailer. We've got one on this side, one over here. The nice thing about that setup is these are still fairly lightweight. And so if I wanna use something like my ammo can, fire pit, I can actually pull one of these off and I can take it over to where we wanna set up, no problem, easy on, easy off. You know, the downside is you do have to take these someplace to get refilled. You can't just swap them out at any gas station, but you know, it's a give and take, and we actually like this setup fairly well. And again, check it out on the propane holder, another nice little Sasquatch footprint and compass, really cool level of detail. So one of the quick modifications that we made after buying was I got one of these pipe tubes. It's an adjustable length tube, and I installed it up under this plate, and it just allows me to throw things in here, especially if they're wet and I don't want them anywhere else in the trailer, but also longer items. So you could throw fishing poles in here. I keep my tent poles in here. I keep awning supports, and that tube actually runs the full length of the side, and they're twist on, twist off, and yes, I can lock them. Here on the back, all right, full review, I do have stabilizer jacks. These are ARC series. They drop down, pop down. There's a couple of different stops on them. And then you've got a bolt that allows you to adjust and level set on your trailer. We do have not only backup lights, we also just have lights that help illuminate at camp. So there's individual controls. I'll show you those in a minute. And there's my little level that I installed just to assist at night as we're trying to get set up at camp, using these stabilizer jacks, making sure that we've got it set up the way we want. Okay, before moving on, we do have the 2 recovery hooks on the rear bumper, one on each side. I have a freshwater port and a vent as well for water, making everything really easy and accessible. And what else can we cover back here? More lighting. So above the rear swing out gate and the galley access, I do have additional lights that help light up everything at night. And over here on the back side of this storage box, that's where our controls for most of those lights, as well as USB charging, 12-volt power, and everything is watertight. Just again, a really nice detail on all the plating, just a really nice quality build. Okay, I know you guys want to see inside, so I won't hold you hostage any longer. Let's take a look at what it's like to spend a night here in the Sasquatch. So I do have 2 doors here. I've got my screen door with some access here so I can open it up at night as needed. But there is a full queen size bed, and not an RV queen, a full queen size bed inside of the Sasquatch. Really nice place to spend an evening in comfort, insulated cabin, tons of storage. Look at this cutout that is above the electrical cabinet and below that extra storage on the front. This is a great place for us, all right? We pop in here, we're able to, with some little bins, we'll put our shoes up here, keep a nice dry place for them to be stored at night. And then on either side of the camper, okay, we have USB controls, 12-volt power, and we can control our exterior lights and interior lights independently of one another. You can see over there on the other side, we've got the exact same setup. Some nice detail around this cutout with some aluminum trim. This material, you're gonna see this in several places in the camper. This is called I'm gonna get this wrong, I think it's an A-core material. It's made out of rice husks, so it doesn't splinter, It doesn't warp. It's really nice material, kind of gives some warmth to the cabin, and just kind of changes it up a little bit from that all metal white look. So let's take a peek here. We've got some netting on the side where I have stored a mirror as well as our weather station. Got it a little weather station mounted on the underside of the tent out of the rain, where we can see ambient temperature, but we can also see the temperature here inside the cab. I've got plenty of storage up there. I've got 3 huge cabinets. I can open those up here in a second. And then I've got power connections. So I've got AC power. I've got more 12 volt and USB. I've got outlets for my furnace, PROPEX furnace, as well as a return. Got a CO2 monitor down there in the lower right, and then our PROPEX controls over there on the left. More netting, more places just to store manuals, and another mirror for the ladies with installed some hooks up here for them to be able to put their mirrors on and do makeup, get their hair ready, whatever it is they want to do in the morning. Whatever you ladies do in the morning, that's up to you. I did install some extra LED lights, really thin LEDs, just to be able to dim and change it up, change up some colors, and I just plugged those in here in the USB. We do have a smoke alarm and sitting right next to our max air fan. That thing, coupled with the mesh windows, when they're open, boy, it will draw out some heat. So, all right, I forgot, I said I was going to open up my storage cabinets. We keep extra blankets up here. That gives you an idea. There's actually 3 of them, and look, it's not even taking up half of that space. Same thing, there's the bins we actually store in here to keep shoes and stuff. So we'll throw shoes in there and put them in that cubby behind us, or we throw them up here. And I got an entirely third cabinet over there for clothes, whatever it is that we want to keep with us. Just, I told you up front, one of the biggest considerations for buying the Sasquatch Highland 60 was storage. It's just everywhere. One more note, or a couple of notes on this hot water heater. I do want to point out there is a regulator valve down here, all right? So on the propane cylinder. So when I open this door, regular valve turns open and allows you to use the propane. When you close this door, got a little pressure switch up here, it closes off that propane. So you're not going to end up in a situation where, you know, maybe this is on or it's leaking and you end up with a bunch of propane building up in a storage box. Nope, they thought of that. Okay, so real quick, we've got our Camp Lux tankless water heater here. It is an on-off style unit, so when it senses water pressure, it's going to kick on. When it, when you shut off your hose on the business end, it shuts off, and it just heats up water super fast. Okay, so we do store hoses. I've got a lot of hose in here because of the way that we use this. We tend to find a place way off for our shower tent, and I've got an extension hose here that we pop on and we run all the way to that tent, and with a really nice Julka shower head that we use to clean off and keep everybody happy. Now this red hose, if you can see back here, and I could have done a better job getting ready for this part of the video, but this one's connected to a little jet sprayer. And so when we do have the kitchen open and we're doing dishes, this allows us to have hot water at a higher pressure and be able to clean off all those dishes a little bit further away from just back here on the ground. So really nice feature to have, and just, you know, gives us some flexibility. I do love that even with all this in here, I got a place to store the essentials. So we just got a little basket we can grab, take off to the shower tent with shampoos and soaps, etc. And between these 2 storage bins, we also keep our portable toilet and all the things that are necessary there. And I store my little shower mat down here. So yeah, really cool setup. Oh, I should point out, check these out. So these carabiners, I love this. You can undo these on either side and you actually lay these completely down flat. So you're not having to reach over, or let's say you're at a campsite where you're up against a tree or near another vehicle, you can drop these down, be able to move back and forth. Just a lot of flexibility ultimately in how you use these. Okay, time to open up the back of the Sasquatch, and it starts right here with the swing arm with the rear tire mounted. That is an all aluminum swing arm as well. It is super lightweight. I did a video when we visited the factory, and you could pick this up one hand, swing it around, no problem. It does have the trailer hitch attachment on the back. Just be a little bit careful about how much weight you put on the very back of the camper. Not because the swing arm can't handle it, but because you're gonna get some trailer sway if you're not careful. And we're speaking from experience. All right, let's open this bad boy up. As with everything on this trailer, it can pretty much be done with one hand. All right, so we'll swing this out. Let's do this where it's gonna lock in place. There we go. And I'll show you a little bit here. Okay, this is the other side of the swing arm. You're gonna notice two things. One, we've got lights. We've got a light right here that is going to illuminate this drop down table. And again, got a little carabiner lead if for some reason you wanted to drop it all the way down. But now I got a really nice work surface right here on my swing out, and I got lights for it. Okay, here we go. Let's pull this thing all the way around and lock it into place. It's gonna be really hard to do while holding the camera. All right, there. Ah, I did it, nice. Hey, Big Bend National Park, Flagstaff, Arizona. This trailer has been all over New Mexico, Colorado, Utah, and Texas. Here we go. This is the galley of the Sasquatch Highland 60. So first thing you're gonna notice, fridge on this really nice custom built table. Again, an aluminum table with Easter eggs. Now, what's really cool about this fridge setup is it's strapped to this table. Okay, I got a 12-volt hookup right here, currently unplugged. But if I want, when I get to camp, I can take that IceCo fridge, I can undo the straps, and I can just put it down on the ground. I can put it right underneath that table down here. And then I've got a whole nother prep table available to me. All right, really, really well thought out. It fits right over the stove and the sink when stowed away. Just really, really smart. Okay, one of the biggest things that we wanted in a trailer and why it took so long was we needed a kitchen that was accessible. Right? And a lot of the ones that we looked at, the height was a real issue. Everything was way too raised, and my wife couldn't really access everything. She couldn't get to the cabinet, she couldn't get to the drawers, and she certainly couldn't use the work surfaces. We do have a Furrion 3-burner stove, runs off of propane over here on the right. I do have a sink right here, so this is Dometic sink. Pops up, water drains out the bottom. I showed you that quick disconnect earlier. And then, again, what's the theme of this trailer? Storage, okay? So on the back side of those interior cabinets, we've got tons of storage, okay? Very deep, big openings, one with a shelf. All right, these pop out, look at that. Multiple places to throw things and keep them organized if that's what you're looking for. So we've never run out of a place to put things in this trailer. All right, let's close all of this up. And I do want to point out one thing that if I could change, I would. And that's this Acor material in the kitchen. You know, when you're cooking and things splatter, it does tend to get onto this material and affect its appearance. And it's not the easiest to clean up. It's not that hard, but it's not that easy either. And I'm looking at putting some sort of polycarbonate or even a stainless steel plate, that would be ideal, into this area so that when we are cooking, that it keeps things cleaner. Not all sunshine and rainbows. This door, from an engineering perspective, it's a big door. Okay, there's a lot on that hinge on the other side. And you do have to do some periodic adjustment. And one of the things that happens over here is in heavy rains, or maybe when I'm out washing it, I do tend to get a little bit of water coming right through this portion. And so I have to keep an eye on that, because I'll open it up and there's water all along here and even right here on the stove. Not a lot, but enough to where I'm probably going to look for a secondary you know, something to stick on up here that keeps the water off. We'll see how that goes. Before closing up the kitchen, did want to point this out. This is the control panel here in the middle of the galley. We do have water level for our tank. I would like to have something that's outside of the galley so I don't have to open this thing up to know how much water is in there. That might be something that I install here before too long. We do have a 120 volt outlet. We got more controls for our table light. So I pointed out the light here on the swing arm, but I also have a light here above the refrigerator, which helps at night as well. Control my 12 volt outlet, and then I've got additional kitchen lights. It's kind of hard to see, but turn around right there. That's going to illuminate this entire area. Okay, for those of you who have a keen eye, what is this up here? This is what is called the Sasquatch box. All right, so this is a custom, again, all aluminum container, and it's intended for a couple of things. You'll notice those slots there. Originally, Cass wanted a place to store the solar panels and deploy them at camp and point them in an optimal fashion wherever the sun is during the day and move them around. I chose a permanent mount on top of the rooftop tent. And so instead of storing solar panels here, they're up there, and I use this little area for my tent ladder. So it slides right in there and gives a nice dry place. And you know, sometimes those tent ladders get really muddy and I can throw it up here and not worry about it. Now, what you're looking at here on the bottom is a slide out, slide in, custom aluminum table for camp that Sasquatch designed. I'm not going to pull it out today, but it's a really useful piece of equipment to have, and just one less thing I have to think about when getting ready to go somewhere. Now, one thing you're going to see right here, that is a rear view camera. That is a modification I made. It's a wireless camera. I've got that thing wired into my reverse lights. I'm sorry, just the lighting system. And so anytime I turn the headlights on the Jeep, this thing powers on and I can see, I've got a little monitor up in the Jeep and I can see behind the trailer. You know, this isn't a big trailer, so probably not all that necessary, but it provides a little bit of peace of mind when cruising down the highway. I know what's coming up behind me. All right, let's pack all of this up. Whew, that was loud. Go over here and unlatch. Again, nice part about all of this, pretty much do it with one hand. Okay, even then I should be able to pull this as deliberate as I can. Okay, well, there you go, pack it all up. Speed, simplicity. Okay, I lied. I did bust out the aluminum table. I needed to pull it out anyway to show you guys something on the rooftop tent. So check this out. There is the all aluminum table that Cass & Company created. That stuff's up there. You can see it's got some tension straps that actually hold the legs in place. It's a really good work surface. Again, like we said, great place to serve dinner when you're out at camp. Everybody can come over and grab what they need. And it just folds right back up and pops back up in the Sasquatch box. Now, I will point out one thing, all right? This Sasquatch box lid drops below this door line. And if you've got the door open and somebody comes along and closes it, it will crunch this lid. And that's just a little bit of design feedback I passed along to the guys up in Colorado, and I think they've addressed that. But I did have to come back and put some rivets in there due to some damage that I caused. That pretty much covers it for the trailer itself, but I did want to highlight something here that has to do with the tent setup. So obviously we've got the queen size bed in the cab, but I can sleep at least 2 more people in the 4x4 Colorado Nimbus up top. And I'm not gonna do a review on the tent. We've already done that, but I did want you to see what I think is a really cool setup for us. And it starts here. All right, remember how I told you you could drop these doors down? So I actually did that in this case so I could maintain access to the water. I still get in and out of the tent with the primary ladder setup. Now again, this is going to come down to what tent you choose and how you actually use the trailer. That's just an example of having that flexibility. And then probably one of my favorite modifications to the overall trailer is over here on the right. I decided to create a second exit point for the tent. And I bought an extra ladder and I got this mounted over here on the trailing arm. And then check this out. I created a deck. I got a nice little deck for the morning. So, you know, my wife and I occasionally will sleep up here when the girls are with us, and I don't want to crawl over her to get in and out of the tent. So I created a little spot for me. I could just sit up here, have my coffee once it's ready, and have a nice comfortable place. I can hang my legs over the side on the awning, and it's just really, really nice. And like I said, probably the #1 modification I've made, and a nice feature. Okay, I hope that was a really nice overview for you guys, a deep dive on the Highland 60, just an incredible camper. And make sure you guys, like I said earlier, subscribe to the channel. It's really helping us. This video, just the walk around video we did a year ago, was our #1 watched video. So I hope this brings you a little bit more insight about the product, and your subscription, your support means the world to us. It'll help us do more in the future, and we'll see you next time.